Well, folks, it's time to have that discussion. Should DC finally kill the Bat, kill Superman, kill Wonder Woman, and kill the Holy Trinity? Well, let's actually talk about that right now. Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Matt Jarbo. Welcome. This is $3 Theater. And I want to talk with you guys today, like I said in the little intro bit there. Warner Brothers and DC Films and DC Comics and HBOMax and all of this stuff right now, they need to really recalibrate what they're working on. They need to really recalibrate their approach to everything. Now, look, I am with you. If you are pro Snyder Cut and you are hashtag restore the Snyderverse, I'm right there. I want it. With the Army of the Dead trailer and the fact that Netflix is pushing it as hard as they are and as big as they are, goes to show you that they're going to be trying to lock Zack Snyder down for the foreseeable future. And I know people out there think that right now we're going to be getting a Justice League 2 and a Justice League 3, and I'm sorry, I just don't see it for the time being. Eventually, maybe, but right now, no. And the reason why, the biggest reason why, and I keep talking about this, is money. HBOMax doesn't have the budget to finance another Justice League. Warner Brothers doesn't really have the budget to finance another Justice League right now. And the reason why is, quite frankly, the COVID pandemic. There have been no new movies for a year in theaters. We are just now kind of coming back to it with Godzilla vs. Kong, which is done well, and it only is done well because of the timing it was released. Vaccines are on the rise in regards to daily doses, and people want to get out of the house. It's springtime, and theaters are just starting to reopen again, and people want escapism, and Godzilla vs. Kong was absolute escapism. Very similar to how Godzilla came out in King Kong came out in 1933, and that movie was made because of the Depression. It helped people with escapism during the Depression, and so there's definitely some correlation there, which I find to be quite fascinating with America's love of King Kong, or just, I guess you could say, society's love of King Kong. But when you think about the fact that Warner Brothers is kind of running on fumes, financially speaking, they haven't been able to pull in as much business theatrically when they used to dump a movie every single month, and that really did fill their coffers. The problem, though, is HBO Max still doesn't have a lot of monthly active users. They're around 17, 18 million now. There's another, I think, 20 to 30 million that could be activated that have not activated their memberships over to HBO Max yet. And that's part of the problem with trying to grow out that brand. And so in the meantime, while it is increasing and it's done better than projected in its first year, they're nowhere near where they need to be. And they're currently not really projecting where they want to be until 2025. So that is 4 years from now until they are at a spot where they feel they are making enough money off the content that is coming on in, and they can invest more money into it. Think about it like this. When you hear Netflix say, hey, we're spending $225 million on this Red Notice movie starring The Rock, that's because they've got 196 million paying monthly customers. Disney, 95 million, or no, over 100 million now. Paying monthly customers. There's money coming in. Warner's doesn't have that. So they're not going to right now invest into these movies, into these properties. And they shouldn't. They really shouldn't. The Batman was already something that's coming theatrically next year. Wonder Woman 3 was greenlit after its success in worldwide international theatrical markets, as well as the people who were coming into HBO Max. Snyder Cut did not have any of that. So that's a whole different conversation to be had. And quite frankly, not necessarily what I want to bring up here, but what I'm talking about is how these particular studios, specifically Warner Brothers, specifically with DC content, they need to put down the Holy Trinity. They are so afraid of showcasing different characters that they are always going to go back to Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, specifically Batman, because Batman is the #1 merchandise mover for Warner Brothers. Number 2 is Harley Quinn, last I checked. And that's a problem with Harley Quinn, though, is her last movie kind of sucked. So let's hope that her appearance in the Suicide Squad is going to reignite the love of that character. And I think it will, because quite frankly, what we saw in the trailer looked pretty damn fantastic. And she looks like she's having fun again. Nothing about, a 5-minute slow motion action sequence surrounding the falling of an egg salad sandwich. Just what the hell? Who cares? That's so dumb. That sandwich scene was so stupid. It just, oh my God, I could go off for hours about that sandwich scene. But anyway, they need to focus on characters that are going to be able to bring in an audience of people like Joker. I'm not saying make movies like Joker, because that was definitely a flash in the pan, a one of a kind situation. You're never going to be able to capture lightning in the bottle like that again. But what it shows you is that mid-budget range movies with a decent actor involved, a decent director, with low budget in mind or mid-budget in mind, and played out well, can have and yield insane returns on investment. You have to start, and this is maybe where Walter Hamada could use his horror expertise as a way to really kind of bring this method going forward, because maybe that's the problem. Maybe people are demanding more Superman, more Wonder Woman, more Batman in the Snyderverse, and they're demanding more of that. But they brought in this guy specifically to slash budgets and to keep productions on track. Maybe that's the problem. Shazam had a budget of $100 million, pulled in $366 million worldwide. Not too shabby, not the best moneymaker in the world, but still not too shabby. And they're giving it a sequel because they're going to hopefully be able to build off of the success from that last movie. But imagine if Shazam was able to have something of a $75 million budget and they were able to, really work within the confines of that and still make it as good. Then it becomes more profitable. These smaller movies can in fact do well theatrically and then potentially carry over into HBO Max. Or look, and I'm just going to say it, and people out there are going to disagree with me, but I believe in this particular moment in time, there's value there, is why not approach it from the same perspective as Marvel, where you launch these characters in HBO Max shows and you bring them over to the persistent universe in the theatrical side of things. And again, this is where DC has its head shoved so far up its own ass, it literally cannot breathe, and it's slowly suffocating on its own fart juices. Because if they were to play it right, and Peacemaker in the Suicide Squad is more or less following that tactic a little bit. Introduce Peacemaker in the Suicide Squad, give him an HBO Max show. We know Warner Brothers wants to have tentpole properties come out for theaters and then do spin-off series onto HBO Max. That is their method, and that is their plan, and that's fine. But when it comes to the DCEU, they need to start working on a persistent universe with an end goal in phases. I'm sorry, Marvel gave you the blueprint for a successful approach. They gave you the blueprint. And the fact that they're still not wanting to follow anything, and they're still kind of having Jim Lee hop around from different group to different group while Ann Sarnoff, again, tries to figure out which way is up. It is one of those situations now where a lot of people are going to start demanding something more consistent, and the lack of consistency is going to hurt them. And if you are trying to build something up, start with your B-list, C-list, D-list, Z-list characters, give them a mid-budget, put them out there, and with any luck, the movies will do well. The movies will pick up. And if they're part of the same kind of canonical universe, it gives people something to look forward to. It becomes must-see TV. Remember back in the 90s when you had must-see TV on Thursday nights, or thank God, or TGIF on Friday nights, where they had the block of programming that you and your friends and your family all huddled around your TV to watch the latest episodes of Family Matters and Step by Step and Seinfeld and all those shows back in the day, and you talked about them the next day or whatever. That is the thing. Marvel has created must-see TV. They've created their TGIF. DC has not done that. They almost refuse to do that. They refuse to start to think about things from a cohesive narrative plot point in order to build towards something that audiences are going to respond to. Yeah, they've tried it a little bit with the Arrowverse shows, but those have still been declining in viewership. I mean, for CW, they get a lot of views for CW, but they really don't get a lot of views for, quite frankly, anybody else. But this is where Warner's has the opportunity right now to pick a persistent universe, nail it down as the prime, and go from there. And I know that they've made these statements, like Arrowverse is Earth Prime, Snyderverse is Earth 1, Batman is Earth 2, Doom Patrol is Earth 22 or something. Whatever, dude. It's whatever. I hate the multiverse. People about that know that about me. But they need to pick one. And then they need to stick with it, and they need to build around it. And that is what they're not doing. They have so many shows in so many different universes, and pocket universes, I'm just going to say it, are stupid. They're stupid. What you do is you establish your main universe with low tier characters. You build around those characters. You build a fan base around those characters. You elevate them up to a larger budget team up movie, maybe HBO Max spinoff series, so on and so forth. And you create the narrative. What you do right now is you realize that you play with the strengths. The strengths are not Superman. They're not Batman and they're not Wonder Woman. You know why? Because there's so much stigma attached to the success of those characters, that the stigma is there that they have to be successful. And if they're not successful, then they just reboot and they move on. Warner Brothers suffers from absolute cold feet. And in order to alleviate that and to put some little footies on, they got to lower the budgets and spread it around a little bit, but keep it persistent. And that is what they should do. So they should retire the Holy Trinity for right now, because I'm sorry, budgetary wise, we're not going to be getting another Justice League for a while. It's just not in the cards. You can tweet about it all you want. It's not going to happen. The money isn't there. The money is not there, but one day it will be. The problem though is, will the actress return? And that is something that has to be talked about. A lot of people are finally starting to, I think, come around to the fact that monetarily speaking, it's just not there. And the last year has really hurt them. And HBOMax, it doesn't, one stream doesn't equal $1 or one movie ticket. And that's another metric that people out there have been saying that they need to stop talking about, because that's not the way any of this works. But hopefully one day we'll get there. Okay. I hold out hope. I hold out hope. I hold out hope. But in the meantime, in order for Warner Brothers and DC films to be successful, the Holy Trinity has to go away, because it's not financially viable. And it's already proving to be a headache for them. If they're going to reboot it, if they're going to reset it with Flashpoint, start small and build from there. But the problem though is they like to do things from the top down and it doesn't work. They don't, it's so annoying. I know, look, here's the thing. I know a lot of you are not going to agree with me, and that is okay. My point here is that financially speaking, things are not looking great. They need to start figuring out a plan. And in the meantime, what that means is that they are going to have to start pulling back on these big budget characters and focus on the smaller guy or gal that is going to be able to establish a fan base. And then from there, they're going to have to build off that fan base. Titans is kind of the best shot in that moment, because it is building up going into the new season. It has introduced a lot of new characters. Doom Patrol also has its own fan base, but they need to combine those universes and they need to make them one cohesive set universe and build off, spin off from there. That would be your best bet. Not the Arrowverse. That stuff is dead. Let it die. Let it die. Let it die. Get Greg Berlanti out of there. Let it die. Bring in a creative who is not going to spread it too thin on television and actually have, substantial, impactful storytelling like Marvel on Netflix. Again, Marvel laid it all out. That's the whole kit and caboodle. Marvel laid it all out. And they gave DC the blueprint for success. Will DC follow it? Probably not, because they've just been led by morons who are so quick to chase their own tail and not actually look at the world around them as it's evolving. However, I would like to hear what you have to say about this. So please tell me your thoughts in the comments below. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, like the video, dislike the video, it's all good. Just want to hear what you have to say. All right, guys, I'll talk to you all later. Have yourself a great day. Thank you for listening, and peace out.